Good afternoon, friends. This is our next lecture for the CNS. In today's lecture, we will go through the command is from an MTA client to a MTA server, which is used in SMTP commands. Okay. In last lecture, we was go through the commands. In this lecture, we see the responses. Okay. Yes. Then. Here code is 211 for the system status or help reply. For 214 it is help message. 220 is a service ready. Okay. 221 is a service closing transmission channel. For code 250 for the request command request complete. Okay. Then 251 is for use not local, the message will be forwarded. Okay. Positive intermediate reply is there. 354 is a start mail input is there. Transistor negative completion reply, for that there is a 4 command codes. 4 is a 421. Okay. Service not available. 450 mailbox not available. Then 451 command aborted local error. Then 452 the command aborted insufficient storage. Okay, these are the different commands. Permanence negative completion reply is there. 500 syntax error unrecognized command is there. 501 is for syntax error in parameters or arguments. 502 is a command not implemented, bad sequence of command. 504 is a command temporarily not implemented. Okay. Then 550 command is not executed, mailbox unavailable. Okay. 551 is for the user not local. 552 is for the requested actions aborted, exceeded storage location. Okay. 553 is for the requested action not taken, mailbox not allowed. Okay. And 554 is for the transaction failed. These are the different codes which is used in SMTP responses. Okay. Example for that is the process of transferring a mail message occurs in 3 phases. Okay. Connection establishment, mail transfer, and connection termination. These are the 3 phases are there. In the figure, we have separated the message related to the envelope, header, and body in the data transfer section. Note that the steps in this figure are repeated 2 times in each mail transfer. Okay. First one is once from the email sender to the local mail server, and second is once from the local mail server to the remote mail server. Okay. The local mail server after receiving the whole email message may spool it and send it to the remote mail server at another time. Observe this diagram, you will get the idea. These are the 3 phases. Connection establishment is the first phase, data transfer is second phase, and connection termination is the third phase. Please observe the diagram. Here is the POP3, means the Post Office Protocol version 3. Okay, mail access starts with the client when the user need to download it email from the mailbox on the mail server. The client opens a connection to the server on TCP port 110. It then sends its username and password to access the mailbox. The user can then list and retrieve the mail message one by one. Okay, here see POP server remote mail server is there, POP client is there. Client sends the username, then server send the OK, then user client send the password, then server send the OK, then client send the list again, then server send the email number and their sizes. Okay, then client send the retrieve one, the server send the email one. Like that we can send the n number of retrieve. Okay, retrieve one up to n number. Okay, here is the MIME. Electronic mail can send messages only in NVT 7-bit ASCII format. It cannot be used for languages other than English or to send binary files or videos or audio data. Okay, multi-purpose internet mail extensions MIME is a supplementary protocol that transforms non-ASCII data at the sender side to NVT ASCII data and delivers it to the client MPA to be sent through the internet. The message at the receiving side is transformed back to the original data. Okay, this is the diagram for MIME multi-purpose internet mail extensions. Like this, Alice and Bob, two persons are there, they want to share an email like that. Next is MIME header. MIME header contains first is email header, yellow line is there in between, and last is email body, blue color. In that MIME version is there 1.1. Content type or top subtype is there, right? Content transfer encoding type is there. Content ID, message ID is there, right? Content description, textual explanations of non-textual contents. These are the points covered in email header or MIME header. Here is the data type and subtypes in MIME. Here is the type, second column for subtype, and there is description in third column. First is text type. In that plain and HTML is there. Plain is unformatted and HTML format is there, right? Next data type is multipart. In multipart there is a four subtype. First one is mix. Mix is for body contains ordered part of different data types. Second one is parallel. Parallel is same as the above but no order is there. Okay. Third one is the digest. It is similar to the mix but the default is message RFC822. Then alternative part are different versions of the same message. Okay. Next is message type. In message type there is three subtypes. First one is RFC822. Body is encapsulated message. Next is partial. Partial is a body is fragment of a bigger message. Then external body. Body is a reference to another message. Okay. Next is image. There is a two subtypes in image. JPEG and GIF is there. In JPEG, image is a JPEG format, image is in a GIF format. Okay. Next is video data type. There is a MPEG. Video is in MPEG format. Next data type is audio data type. There is a basic subtype is there, and single channel encoding of voice at 8 kilohertz. Okay. Then applications are there. PostScript and Octet stream is there. These are the two subtypes of the application. In PostScript, Adobe PostScript is used, and Octet stream general binary data 8 bytes is used. Okay. Next is the method for content transfer encoding. There is 5 types in method of content transfer encoding. First column is for type and second one is for description. First is 7-bit NVC ASCII characters with each line less than 1000 characters. In 8-bit there is a non-ASCII characters with each line less than the 1000 characters. Next is binary type. In binary type there is a non-ASCII characters with unlimited length lines. Next is base 64, 6-bit blocks of data encoded in 8-bit ASCII characters. Non-ASCII characters encoded as an equal sign plus an ASCII code. Okay. Next, ASCII characters. Next is quoted printable. Non-ASCII characters encoded as an equal sign plus an ASCII code. Clear? This is the base 64 conversions. In the base 64 encoding, data is divided into 6-bit chunks. Okay, each 6-bit section is then converted into ASCII character according to the table 26.10. Clear? Here the the non-ASCII data is there. A set A is a set of bits, then combine and split in a 6-bit, right? Each data is divided into 6-bit. The 4 6-bit chunks are there. Then that base 64 converter which converts it in a ASCII data. Then 57 is converted into the 4 characters. 5, 57 is 5, 4 is for E, 8 for I, 15 for Z. Clear? According to this table, that value is there. For 57, see in that table there is a 5 code. That's why here for 57 there is a 5. For 4, we see in table for 4 it is E. ASCII code is E. That's why here here is a for E. Okay. For 8, we will see in table for 8 the ASCII code is I. Therefore, we use the I. Clear? Like that we have to convert. When we have to convert the data into the ASCII value, first we have to divide it in 6-bit chunks. Then that chunks is converted into binary, and then that chunks available in binary we have to convert it in decimal and decimal to ASCII by using the table. This is the table for the 64 base 64 converting table. Okay, for ASCII code. Here is the quoted printable. Here is the quoted printable. Miss ASCII and non-ASCII data is there, right? ASCII and non-ASCII data is there. This is the non-ASCII, this is the ASCII. Clear? Then quoted printable ASCII data. The data consists of mostly of ASCII characters with a small non-ASCII portion. Then we can use quoted printable encoding. If a character in ASCII it is sent as it is. Okay. If the character is not ASCII, it is sent as 3 characters. The first character is the equal sign. The next 2 characters are the hexadecimal representation of the byte. Clear? Then in the figure, the third character is non-ASCII because it started with bit 1, right? It is interrupted as 2 hexadecimal digits 9D16, which is replaced by this ASCII character 9 and D equal 9 and D. Clear? Professional email is such a common application that some websites today provides this service to anyone who access the site. 3 common sites are Hotmail, Yahoo and Google Mail. The idea is very simple. Figure 26.20 shows the 2 cases here, right? See, web-based email. Case 1 and case 2 is there. In case 1, Alice uses a mail server. Bob, the receiver, has an account on the web-based server. Mail transfer from the Alice browser to her traditional mail server, and from the sending mail server to the receiving mail server is through SMTP. However, the message from the receiving server, the web server, to web browsers is done through HTTP instead of using the POP3 or IMAP4. Okay, when the Bob need to retrieve his email, he send a request HTTP message to the website. Okay, Hotmail, for example, the website send a form to be filled in by Bob, the login name and the password. If the login name and password matches, the list of email is transferred from the web server to Bob's browser in HTML format. Clear? See, case 1, only receiver use the HTTP. Right? In the second case, both Alice and Bob uses the web server. Alice send an HTML request message to her web server using the name and address of Bob's mailbox as the URL. Okay, the server at the Alice site passes the message to the SMTP client and send it to the server at the Bob site. Using SMTP protocol, Bob receives the message using HTTP transaction. SMTP protocol is used to transfer the message from the server at the Alice site to the server at the Bob site. See here in diagram, both sender and receiver use the HTTP. Observe the diagram and predict with this. Hello. Email security. The protocol discussed in this chapter does not provide any security provisions per SE. However, email exchanges can be secured using two application layers. Security is designed in particular for email system. Two of these protocols pretty good privacy. Okay, GPG. The protocol discussed in this chapter does not provide any security provision per se. However, email exchanges can be secured using two application layers. Security is designed in particular for email systems. Two of these protocols pretty good privacy and secure multipurpose internet mail extensions. As MIME are discussed in chapter 32 after we have discussed basic network security. Next point is telnet. It is impossible to have a client server pair for each type of service we need. The number of servers soon become interactable. The idea is not scalable. The solution is to have a specific client server program for a set of common scenarios, but to have some generic client server program for the rest. We first discussed the concept of local and remote logging as shown in figure 26.23. Here, local versus remote logging we have to study. When a user logs into a local system, it is called a local logging. Okay, as a user type at a terminal or at a workstation running a terminal emulator, the keystrokes are accepted by the terminal drive. The terminal drive passes the characters to the operating system. The operating system incorporates the combination of characters and invoke the desired application, program or utility. When a user wants to access an application, program or utility located on a remote machine, she performs a remote logging. The user sends the keystrokes to the terminal driver where the local operating system accepts the characters but not interpret them. The characters sent are sent to the telnet client, which transforms the characters into a universal character set called Network Virtual Terminal (NVT) characters and delivers them to the local TCP/IP stack. NVT travel through the internet and arrive at the TCP/IP stack at the remote machine. Here, the characters are delivered to the operating system and passed to the telnet server, which changes the characters to be corresponding characters understandable by the remote computer. However, the characters cannot be passed directly to the operating system because it is not designed to receive characters from a telnet server. It is designed to receive characters from a terminal driver. The solution is to add a piece of software called a pseudo terminal driver, which pretend that the characters are coming from a terminal. The operating system then passes the characters to the appropriate application, program. Here is the remote logging. Telnet client is there, right? Here terminal driver is there. TCP/IP data link physical layer is there. Terminal is connected to the terminal driver, which is connected to the telnet. Then telnet sends the data to this TCP/IP data link physical layer. Now after that, data is uploaded in internet, then which is given to the operating system in second time, like that. Here is a local logging. Here only application program is there, terminal driver is there. Terminal transfer the data to the terminal driver, which is given to the application program. Okay, here not like that. Here all the pseudo terminal drivers are there and TCP/IP data link physical layers by using the internet. Clear? Here concept of NVT: terminal, telnet client, telnet server, pseudo terminal driver, internet. See the diagram. NVT character set is there, right? Here the client telnet translates characters, data or commands that come from a local terminal into the NVT form and delivers them to the network. The server telnet T, on the other hand, translates data and commands from NVT form into the form acceptable by remote computers. Okay, NVT uses two sets of characters, one for data and one for control. Okay, both are 8 bytes. Clear? Next is the example of interface commands. The operating system like Unix, for example, Unix define an interface with the user friendly commands. Here is the command meaning. First command is open, connect to the remote computer. Close the connection. Displays for show the operating parameters. Then mode is changed to line or characters mode. Okay, next command is set the operating parameters. Status is for display the status information. Send is for send special characters, and quit for exit telnet. Clear? These are the commands. Here is the next point is secure shell, SSH. Although secure shell is a secured application program that can be used today for several purposes such as remote logging and file transfer, It was originally designed to replace Telnet. Okay, there are two versions of SSH. The first version is SSH1, is now deprecated because of security flags in it. In this section, we discuss only SSH2. SSH is an application layer protocol with three components as shown in figure here. SSH with three components. Here components of SSH are the connection protocol, authentication protocol and transfer layer protocol. These are the protocols. Okay, layer. Here is the application. Although SSH is often thought of as a replacement of Telnet, SSH is in fact a general purpose protocol that provides a secure connection between a client and server. Clear? Here is a port forwarding. The SSH port forwarding mechanism creates a tunnel through which the messages belonging to other protocol can travel. For this reason, this mechanism is sometimes referred to as SSH tunneling. We can use the secure channel to access an application program that does not provide security services. See here, tunnel is there. FTP client sends or share the data with SSH client, which also share with the tunnel. Secure connection is there between the local site and remote site. Clear? In between tunnel is there. Here is the SSH packet format. The length field defines the length of the packet but does not include the padding. One of 8 bytes of padding is added to the packet to make the attack on the security provision more difficult. Okay, the CRC field is used for the error detection. The type field designate the type of the packet used in different SSH protocols. The data field is the data transferred by the packet in a different packet protocol. See the packet format for the SSH. Domain name system DNS, the last client server application program we discuss has been designated to others. Okay. The last client server application we discussed has been designated to help other applications, right? The internet need to have a directory system that can help map a name to an access, right, address. This is analogous to the telephone network. Figure 22 figure 26.28 shows the TCP IP uses a DNS client. Okay, DNS client and a DNS server to map a name to an address. Purpose of DNS: a user want to use a file transfer client to access the corresponding file transfer server running on a remote host. The user knows only the file transfer server name, such as a file source.com. However, the TCP IP suits the need the IP address of the file transfer server. To make the connection, the following 6 steps map the host name to an IP address. Okay, the user fetches the host name to the file transfer client. The file transfer client processes the host name to the DNS client. Each computer, after being booted, knows the address of the one DNS server. The DNS client sends a message to a DNS server with a query that gives the file transfer server name using the known IP address of the DNS server. Okay, the DNS server responds with the IP addresses of the desired file transfer server. The DNS server passes the IP address to the file transfer client. Clear? The file transfer client now uses the receive IP address to access the file transfer server. See, here is the diagram for the DNS. Observe the diagram carefully. Next is namespace. To be unambiguous, the names assigned to machines must be carefully selected from a namespace with complete control over the binding between the names and IP addresses. In other words, the name must be unique address. In other words, the name must be unique because the address are unique. Okay, the namespace that map each address to unique name can be organized in two ways. Flat name is assigned to an address. The name is this space is a sequence of characters without structure. Next is hierarchical namespace. Each name is made of several parts. The first part can define the nature of the organization. The second part can define the name of an organization. The third part can be defined a departmental in the organization, and so on. Clear? Here is the domain namespace. There is a root, top level node is there, then leaf node is there. The name are defined in an inverted tree structure with the root at the top. The tree can have only 128 levels, level 0 to level 127. Okay, domain name and labels are there. Each node in the tree has a label. A string with a maximum of 63 characters, which is the root label in the null string, empty string. Okay. Next is a domain name. A full domain name is a sequence of labels separated by the dots. The domain name are from the node up to the root. A full domain name always ends in a null label, which means the last characters is not a dot. Okay. Here is the root. Education label is there. Educator is a domain name. Top university educator domain name is there. Then B department dot top university dot education is a domain name. See, observe the diagram, you will get the idea. Here is the domain. There is a root, domain.com and educator. Domain is a subtree of the domain namespace. The name of the domain in the name of the node at the top of the subtree. The domain may itself be divided into the domains. Clear? Here is the hierarchical of the name servers. Root server is there, educated server, com server and us server. The information contained in the domain namespace must be stored. Okay, it is very insufficient to store it in computer, because the responding to the requested from all over the world place a heavy load on the system. Also, it is not reliable because any failure makes the data inaccessible. The solution, the hierarchical of the name service that distribute the information among many computers called the DNS server. By dividing the whole space into many domains, we let the root and create subtree first level node. Then domain can be divided further into the smaller domains. Okay, each server can be responsible for either a large or small domain. We have a hierarchy of server in the same way that we have a hierarchy of name. Next is zone. When a server is responsible for or has authority over is called a zone. If a server does not divide the domain into smaller domains, the domain and the zone refers to the same things. The server makes a database called a zone file and keep all the information for every node under that domain. Okay, if a server divides its domain into a subdomains and delegates part of its authority to other servers, domains and zone refers to the different things. The information about the nodes in the subdomains is stored in the servers at the lower level. If the original servers keeping some sort of reference to these lower level servers, of course the original server does not free itself from responsibility totally. It still has a zone, but the detailed information is kept by the lower service. Here is the DNS in the internet. DNS is a protocol that can be used in different platforms. In the internet, the domain namespace tree was originally divided into three different sections: generic domain, country domain, and the inverse domain. However, due to the rapid growth of the internet, it became extremely difficult to keep track of the inverse domain, which would be used to find the name of the host when given the IP addresses. The inverse domain are now depleted. We therefore concentrate on the first two. Here is the generic domain. A generic domain define register host according to their generic behavior. Each node in the tree defines a domain, which is an index to the domain namespace database. Looking at the tree, we see that the first level in the generic domains sections allows the 14 possible labels. These labels describe the organization type as listed in table 26.12. See the diagram. This is the generic domain. These are the 14 possible labels. Clear? These are the 14 labels and their description. Aero, airline and aerospace. Aero, business of firms. Com is commercial organization. Cooperative organization. Educative institutions. GOV, government institution. Information service providers. Right? International organizations. Then MIL, military groups. Museum. Right, name is for personal name. Net for network support centers. ORG means non-profit organizations. Means professional organizations. Okay, here is the country domain. The country domain section uses two characters country abbreviations used for United States. Second label can be organizational or they can be more specific national designations. Okay, in the figure the address UCICAS can be translated to University of California in the state of California in the United States. See the main dot is there. This is the country domain. Here is the resolution. Name address resolution is there. Mapping a name to an address. DNS is designed as a client server application, a host that need to map an address to a name or a name to be an address cell. A DNS client name as a resolver. The resolver accesses the closest DNS server with a mapping request. If the server has the information, it satisfies the resolver. Otherwise, if it either refers the resolver to other server or asks other servers to provide the information. Okay, here is the recursive resolution. Root server is there and at ASPI and macro hill network. So the figure shows the multiple example of the recursive resolution. We assume that an application program running on a host name some.nnet.com need to find the IP address of other host name engineering.macrohill.com. Clear? Here is the iterative resolution. In iterative resolution, each server has that does not know the mapping sends the IP address of the next server back to the one that requested it. The messages shown by events 2, 4 and 6 contains the same query. The message shown by event 3 contains the IP address of the top level domain server. The message shown by event 5 contains the IP address of the MicroHill local DNS server. The message shown by event 7 contains the IP address of the destination. See the diagram. Observe diagram. You will get the idea. This is all about today's lecture. Thank you.